The Razer Viper Mini and Razer Deathadder V2 are two of Razer's most attractive mice, but they're completely different. So if you're not sure which one to buy, hopefully this video will help you. So guys, let's get into this. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and join the TechFi Discord. So I wasn't actually going to make this video as I feel like I've done loads of Razer comparisons, loads of videos with the Viper Mini now. However, I did see a few comments asking me to compare these two mice, so I thought I'd make a really quick and simple video and then that'll hopefully help a few people. So I'll keep this nice and short and I'll jump straight into it. The Viper Mini is super budget. You can get this for about $20 a lot of the time, maximum $30, even less sometimes in some like sales and things. It is a really good value for money mouse. Even nowadays, it's still considered to be one of the best budget mice out there. The Deathadder V2 is a bit more expensive and is obviously a bit of a different mouse. That means you do get some upgraded features, but to be honest, I think the thing you should be focusing on, even if you're willing to spend the extra money, is things such as the shape and the weight. So jumping straight into them, obviously they're very different. I'll put some dimensions on screen now, but the Viper Mini is obviously a lot smaller. It also has a symmetrical design, whereas the Deathadder V2 is a right-handed ergonomic mouse. So if you're a palm user or your hands are particularly big, then obviously the big shape of the Deathadder V2 is going to be quite a bit more comfortable for you, and in general it is quite a nice experience to use for long periods of time. You get some nice rubber side grips and things like that that make this just a really nice mouse to use. It is also quite a clawable mouse if you have medium to big hands, so it's certainly one to consider. That being said though, the Razer Viper Mini is an excellent mouse of fingertip, and if you've got smaller hands then it's definitely the one to go for, despite even some of the other features I'll talk about later. If you're a claw user like myself, I think it is a really good shape. You can get a really good grip on it. I'm hoping that we get a cheaper version of the very expensive Razer Viper Mini Wireless that's just come out, because this shape is excellent in my opinion, but some of the things like the sensor do let this mouse down a little bit, since it is a budget mouse. Going along with that, the weight, the Viper Mini is just 61 grams, making it a really light mouse. It is a really nice experience to use, and I personally really like a lightweight mouse. However, if you don't mind a bit more weight, the Deathadder V2 is about 80 grams. It does make it a bit more heavy, and it's just, for me personally, not the best mouse for using in fast-paced shooting games where I'm trying to get really good precise aim. However, I understand that it is a preference for some people. Razer does do a pretty good job on a lot of the other features on their budget mice, so you still get RGB on the Viper Mini for those of you who care. You get quite a nice flexible cable, which is actually really good and is honestly as good as the one, if not maybe actually slightly better in my opinion, on the Viper Mini than the Deathadder V2, so that's nothing to worry about. And the feet, I honestly think must be the same material on both. If not, I can't tell a difference. They feel really good on the Viper Mini and the Deathadder V2, but the lower weight makes them feel just that bit better on the Viper Mini in my opinion. The clicks, you both get Razer's optical switches, which are really good clicks. They definitely feel a bit nicer and a bit more crisp on the Deathadder V2 than on the Viper Mini. But once you're gaming and you're not comparing clicks and their sound side by side, they feel plenty good enough in game, and I've had a really positive experience when using them. And that's the same with the side buttons and the scroll wheel as well. I must say though, the scroll wheel does feel a bit nicer on the Deathadder V2, but it's not something that I personally use too much in game, so I can't really comment on how big of a deal that actually makes. It's also worth noting that obviously you can customize all these, but you get 2 buttons on the top of the Deathadder V2 versus 1 on the Viper Mini. So then why is the Deathadder V2 more money? Well, the main thing is going to be the sensor. You get up to 20,000 DPI and just a better sensor in general than the one on the Viper Mini. In terms of your accuracy and tracking and things like that, you're not actually going to notice too much of a difference. The thing where I find the difference is in the lift-off distance. So a lot of people have said, and it's something that I found to really annoy me when I did my initial review of the Viper Mini, is the lift-off distance is a little bit higher than I'd like. And what that means is when you're readjusting the mouse in game and you have to lift off, there's a chance that it's still going to track because you're going to have to lift it further before it stops detecting movement. To measure it, it's about 7 playing cards on the Viper Mini versus about 5 on the Deathadder V2. It doesn't sound like a big difference, but you really can notice it when you're gaming, at least I could personally. Overall though, the lower weight and the shape of the Viper Mini makes it the go-to option for me. I definitely, for a claw grip user or a fingertip user, and if your hands aren't too big, in general it's really good. The advantage of it being so cheap as well is if you don't like it, there's still money to spend on other things or having another go at a different mouse in future. Whereas the Deathadder V2 is a bit more of an investment, and I think For a lot of people, the bigger ergonomic shape, although initially it feels comfortable and will be nice for browsing the web and things, for actually gaming and performing your best, that higher weight as well isn't going to be quite as good, even though you've got the better sensor. Hopefully this video has helped you make a decision about which mouse to buy. If you're still not sure, I've got lots of other comparisons. Some to check out are the Deathadder V2 Mini versus the Viper Mini, or versus the Deathadder V2, but there's lots of mice videos on my channel if you want to check them out. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.